Professor Namita Rajput, Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. In the ongoing series of corporate governance, today we are talking about the board committees. As we have already discussed, the board committees are a very smaller group of individuals that advise the board of directors on the specific areas of operations in the company. The main characteristics of the effective board committees include a very clear purpose, a chairperson, alignment with the board, understanding of its advisory role, and an evaluation process. These committees are definitely accountable and making a timely reports to the full board and are structured to tap into the effective talent, skills, and the knowledge of the individual board of directors to address the specific issues. They are no wonders, they are integral part of the effective governance of the company, and definitely it gives a support to the board's work. It improves the efficiency of the board, and definitely the members bring a specialized skills or the knowledge contributing to more informed decisions. There are some specific functions of these committees. They are very, very important for the governance of the company. Like some committees have a decision-making power in the specific domains, acting in the interest of all the stakeholders. Coordination is another function, that is the specialized function like audit, finance, and the compensation ensures a better oversight and the strategic planning. There are some temporary committees and there are some ad hoc committees. The temporary committees are made for a specific purpose, and after that purpose is over, the committee is dissolved. And the committees can also address some ongoing issues, or they are set up temporarily for a particular project. The completion of that project also dissolves that company. Now, the board determines whether a committee acts independently within its remit or its recommendations require the board's approval. So, it is very, very important to understand the domain, horizon, and the frontier of the board committee functioning. The board should periodically assess their structure, performance, and suitability for the committee framework. They also based on the specific mandates defined by the board, ensuring a very clarity of the purpose, etc. There are some standing committees and there are some ad hoc committees. Some are permanent for an ongoing task, whereas some are dissolved after completion of their particular activities. The committee proposes the policies for the board's approval, leveraging the members' expertise and ensuring a diverse perspective. It focuses on the leadership skills, gives the knowledge, gives the advice, and the ability to encourage the productive decision making. It also helps in effective functioning of the board and the joint responsibility for the committee decisions, ensuring that they are aligned with the organization's best practices. The board committees, through their specialized focus and expertise, significantly contribute to the governance and the strategic direction of the board. Now, definitely based on the information provided for the sources, there are different types of committees, like we first discussed about the audit committee, which is a cornerstone of the corporate governance, which is specifically tasked for overseeing the financial reporting, internal control, and the risk management. Whereas it is applicable to the companies with a turnover of 100 crores or more, with the loans, borrowings, debentures of 50 crores or more, and the minimum of the 3 directors are there, with the majority of being independent director, and the chairperson also has to be the independent director. So it plays a very vital role in the integrity of the reporting practices, which is related to finance, and adhere to the regulatory requirements for the best practices. And definitely it also reviews the auditor's independence, the audit process in progress, evaluates the financial statements and the audit report, and also approve the transactions with the related parties, scrutinizes the intercorporate loan and investments, monitor the use of the funds. So they are integral part of the management, financial decision making, transparency, accountability within organization, thereby protecting the interest of the stakeholders and ensuring the shareholders' value. Definitely the vigil mechanism, the reporting practices, they are the prime functions of the audit committee. Then we also discussed about the nomination and the remuneration committee, which is another critical component of the corporate governance. which is also pivotal for the process of nominating the directors to the board and determining their remuneration. And definitely the basic function what it has is that it is for the listed companies with a paid up share capital of 10 crores or more, and with a turnover surpassing 100 crores, with the public companies with a significant loan borrowing debentures or deposits exceeding 50 crores. So there are more than non-executive directors, 3 or more, with at least half of being the independent. The chairperson has to be an independent director, not the company's chairperson. They have a very key responsibility of choosing the directorship and the senior management, and not only recommending the appointments and the approval of the board, but evaluating the performance of the directors also, and also giving the policy on the remuneration, designing a competitive remuneration policy to attract and retain the top management and the top talent. So linking the remuneration with the performance of the company's objectives, and balancing the fixed and incentive-based compensation, establishing the qualification attributes, independence criteria for the directors, and developing a good policy for the board diversity, disclosure, and the other aspects. The third committee we have already discussed is a stakeholder relationship committee. It is applicable for those who are having a large base of the stakeholders, debenture holders, shareholders, deposit holders, and the other security holders. So it is basically to enhance the investor trust and satisfaction through the diligent handling of the stakeholder concerns and the grievances. And the Act does not specify a numerical threshold for a large number of the stakeholders. It is implied that the companies with a diverse and substantial investor base should constitute this committee to effectively address and manage the grievances of their stakeholders. So basically, for the effective communication, for monitoring of the transfer process, for reporting the status of grievances and the resolution by the board, this committee helps the board informed about the issues faced by the stakeholders and the steps taken to address them. So, meeting with the stakeholders, in some cases the stakeholder relationship committee may meet their stakeholders to discuss and address their concerns directly. This helps in understanding their issues in depth and finding an amicable solutions. The policy formulations, so they also must recommend the policies to improve the stakeholder relationship and ensure that their grievances are handled more effectively in the future with the legal compliance. This includes adhering to the grievances set by the Security Exchange Board of India, and the particular committee is typically composed of the members from the company's board of directors with a preference for having majority of non-executive director, and the chairperson of the committee is usually an independent director, emphasizing the company's role in unbiased and effective grievance resolution. Then we talked about the importance also that by ensuring the grievances they are addressed promptly and effectively, and basically for safeguarding the stakeholders' interest. Now, the next committee, what we are going to discuss in detail, is the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. The Corporate Social Responsibility Committee is a fundamental component of the CSR framework under the Companies Act 2013 in India. Now, this particular Corporate Social Responsibility Committee signifies the statutory acknowledgement of the corporate entities and the role in contributing to the social, environmental, and economic development. This committee is tasked with ensuring that the companies not only comply with the CSR provisions of the Act, but also effectively integrate the social responsibility into their core operations. Now, let us talk about the applicability of the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. The formation of CSR Committee is mandated for the company's meetings, and any of the following criteria financial is immediately preceding the financial year. That is a net worth of 500 crores or more, a turnover of 1000 crores or more, and a net profit of 5 crores or more. These thresholds, they highlight the legislature intent to involve the companies with a significant financial strength in contributing to the societal development. So basically, it is driving and steering the organization towards a better social environment, wherein the corporate has to play a very significant role relating to giving back to the society. Now, these thresholds are fixed and it is all about the net worth, net profit and the turnover. The net worth should be 500 crores or more, a turnover should be 1000 crores or more, and a net profit should be 5 crores or more. Now, these thresholds highlight the legislative intent to involve the companies into a very important social endeavor. Let us now talk about the key functions and the responsibilities of the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. The committee is responsible for drafting a detailed corporate social responsibility policy, outlining the activities to be undertaken, the budget allocated for each project, and the process of implementation. The policy must be aligned with the activities specified in the Schedule 7 of the Companies Act 2013, which includes the education, poverty, gender equality, hunger, environmental sustainability, and the national heritage, amongst the others. So, all these policies, they have to be aligned with the Schedule 7, which is given in the Companies Act 2013. So, you can play a pivotal role as a corporate in the field of education, playing a very important role in spreading inclusive education, spending on education, making the requirement of the education accessible to all, and improving the facilities relating to education. Then eradication of poverty can be another field wherein the CSR can be, CSR spending can be done. The gender equality, removal of the hunger, environmental sustainability and making the environment better, and the national heritage amongst the others. These are the recommended areas under which the expenditure can be made by the company to make a difference for the national development of the country. Now, there are some recommended expenditure we are talking about. So, it specifies the amount of money to be spent on the CSR activities. As per the Act, they are required to spend at least 2% of their average net profits of the previous 3 financial years on the CSR activities. Now, the committee recommends this budget to the board for approval. The project monitoring and evaluation. The CSR committee oversees the execution of a CSR project or the programs, ensuring that they are carried out as per formulated policy. It involves regular monitoring and evaluation of the projects to assess their impact and effectiveness. The next important feature is your compliance and reporting. Ensuring the compliance with the legal requirements related to CSR under the Companies Act 2013. The committee is also tasked with preparing the annual reports on the CSR activities, which are included in the company's annual report to the shareholders. The stakeholder engagement. We need to identify and engage with the stakeholders which are actually relevant to the CSR activities, including the communities, the local government, and the non-governmental organizations. Now, this ensures that the corporate social responsibility initiatives are aligned with the local needs and are executed effectively. Now, let us talk about under the CSR committee, that is the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee, what are the composition of this committee? The CSR committee must consist of 3 or more directors with at least one as independent director. In the case of a private company or a company without an independent director, the company can be composed differently, but it must still fulfill its responsibilities as per the Act. Now, the provisions and the amendment. The Companies Amendment Act 2019, they introduced certain several changes to the CSR provisions, including the transfer of the unspent amount. The CSR fund to a specific fund within a specified time and the ability to carry forward and set off the excess amounts spent on the CSR activities against the future CSR expenditure obligations. Let us now talk about the importance of this committee. The corporate social responsibility, which is playing a very important role in basically improving the status of the economy, in economic development, in the key areas like education, medical, etc. The CSR committee plays a very key role in bridging the gap between the corporate operations and the societal needs. Indian economy is growing. It is developmental in nature. The population of the country is also growing. So, owing to all these factors, there are increasing, evolving societal needs. So, all the more, the role of the corporate is significant in this regard. So, they have to actually bridge the gap between their corporate operations and what is required to be spent for the benefit of the society at large, seeing their societal needs. So, this particular committee plays definitely a very bridging role in this regard, in finding the gaps and working towards the spending in the societal needs of this. By ensuring the responsible and the strategic CSR engagement, the committee not only helps the companies fulfill their legal obligations, but also enhances their corporate image, the stakeholder relationships, and the social capital. This structured approach to CSR underlines the importance of corporate contributions to the sustainable development and the social welfare. This kind of a structured approach is very important from the nation's point of view because it shows a very clear picture about the role what the corporate can play in the area of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and the sustainable development and the social welfare at large. Now, the Risk Management Committee and in-depth analysis. This is now we are talking about another committee called Risk Management Committee. The Risk Management Committee, what we call it as RMC, it forms a very important cornerstone of the modern corporate governance framework, primarily focusing on identifying, evaluating and mitigating the risk. The Companies Act 2013 in India does not explicitly mandate for the formation of the Risk Management Committee for all the corporations, but it is significant, and its significance is underscored through the regulations set forth by Security Exchange Board of India for the listed companies. Now, acknowledging the criticality of the risk management, there are numerous large-scale enterprises and the organizations susceptible to a high risk, having a voluntary established this committee to fortify their governance structure. Now we talk about the applicability of this committee. It is mandated for the listed companies as per the Security Exchange Board of India regulations. All the listed companies are required to establish a risk management committee to oversee the company's risk management policies and the procedures. The next is your voluntary adoption. Unlisted companies, especially those operating in risk-prone sectors or having a significant scale and complexity, are increasingly setting up the risk management committees to ensure a robust risk management practices. Now let us talk about certain key functions and responsibilities. The first and the foremost function of the risk management committee is the risk identification. The committee identifies the potential internal and the external risk that could impact the organization, and this includes the strategic, financial, operation compliance and the reputational risk. The next is your risk evaluation. After identifying the risk, the committee assesses their magnitude and the potential impact on the organization. This evaluation, it helps in prioritizing the risk based on their severity and the likelihood. Now we will be talking about the risk mitigation strategy. One of the core responsibility of the risk management committee is to develop certain strategies and the action plans to mitigate the identified risk. This involves determining the risk tolerance levels, suggesting the risk avoidance, risk reduction or the transfer strategies, and implementing the risk mitigation measures. So this particular organization, this particular committee has a very important role to play. So basically when you talk about the risk management committee, so risk management committee is mandated for the listed companies. So as per the SEBI regulations, all listed companies are required to establish a risk management committee to oversee the company's risk management policies and procedures, and the unlisted companies, especially those operating in the risk-prone sectors or having a significant scale or complexity, they are increasingly setting up their risk management committees to see a robust risk management practices and the mechanism for a better management. So it identifies the risk. The committee proposes for the potential risk to be identified, both internal and external, and this includes the strategic, financial, operating compliance and the reputational basis. Then it does a very important job called risk evaluation. After identifying the risk, the committee assesses their magnitude and potential impact on the organization. This evaluation of the risk, it helps in prioritizing the risk, which is based on the severity and the likelihood of the operations. Then we have certain risk mitigation strategies. One of the core responsibilities of the risk management committee is to develop the strategies and the action plans to mitigate the identified risk. This involves determining the risk tolerance levels, suggesting the risk avoidance, reduction or the transfer strategies, and implementing the risk mitigation measures. Now, policy development and the review. The risk management committee is responsible for developing a comprehensive risk management policy that outlines the processes for the risk identification, risk evaluation and risk mitigation. Now, the committee periodically reviews and updates the policy to ensure its relevance and, of course, the effectiveness. The monitoring and reporting. The committee monitors the effectiveness of the risk management practices and provides a regular report to the board of directors. This includes the updates on the risk landscape of the company, effectiveness of the risk mitigation measures which are adopted by the companies, and the recommendations for the policy or the strategic adjustments. The next important function of what this committee plays is a crisis management. The Risk Management Committee plays a very crucial role in developing and overseeing the implementation of the crisis management and the business continuity plans to ensure that the organization can effectively respond to the unexpected events. So, now let us talk about the composition of this committee. The composition of the Risk Management Committee typically includes a mix of the directors with a preference given to those having the expertise in the risk management. The inclusion of the independent directors is recommended to ensure impartiality. Additionally, the experts or the advisors may be invited to the committee meetings to provide insights on the specific risk-related issues. Now, the establishment of Risk Management Committee is a testament to an organization's commitment to proactive and the prudent risk management. By systematically addressing the risk, the companies can protect their assets, the reputation, and the stakeholder interest, thereby enhancing the stakeholders' value and contributing to the long-term sustainability. The Risk Management Committee's work is integral to fostering a culture of the risk awareness and preparedness within the organization, ensuring that the risks are managed strategically and efficiently. So these committees, what we have discussed today, they are primarily very important for the board functioning. So this consolidated aspects what we have discussed, they help in operations, structural adjustments of the companies, the SEBI regulations, highlighting what the critical role these committees play in ensuring a good corporate governance and accountability. So let us make the corporate world a more strengthened world by following and making the provisions of the Companies Act and implementing the formation functions of these policies effective in the Indian corporate landscape. Thank you very much.